Hi guys, welcome to Ignite India. This is the biggest online platform for entrance exam preparation for design, architecture, management and law. Today with us we have our expert Mr. Anantsa. He'll be taking the session on percentage. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Rinton. Good evening, guys. I don't know. I hope I'm audible to all of you. So, good news and bad news. What's the good news? The good news is we are done with numbers. Okay, so that's the good news. Bad news is we enter percentage, which is one of those nightmares for many people around. Okay, so what I'm trying to do is I'll go as slow as possible on this particular topic. So usually percentages are done in half an hour, 45 minutes of a class, but I have broken percentages into 3 classes, right? So today, the next class and the last class will be where we'll solve certain questions on percentages as such, right? So I hope that all of you are ready with your book and no calculators as usual. So let's begin. Wherever you have doubts, percentage is one place where you cannot carry forward your doubts, and I would advise you not to carry forward your doubts. So wherever you have doubts, please raise, unmute and directly ask. Okay, don't wait for me to ask you. You can directly cut in and ask the doubt. I'm okay with you cutting in between and asking doubts. Right. So starting with percentage, what do you mean by percentage and what's the use of percentage? Okay. Percentage, as the name says, it's basically per cent. So cent represents 100, right? So anything that has to be compared with respect to 100. Now, why is percentage so useful or so important? So let's say I take 2 candidates, A and B. A has scored in a subject. So let's assume a subject is English. So A has scored 67 marks and B in the same subject, English, has scored, let's say, 70 marks. Now, between A and B, who's more proficient in English? Right? Who's better? Let's put it in that way. So according to you, what do you feel? Who's better in English, A or B? A has scored 67 marks and B has scored 70. So you may put it in the chat, A or B. Who's better? So we all say that B is better, right? But do we understand why are we saying B is better? Just because B has got more marks than A, right? So that is one reason why we are saying B is better, because B has got more marks than A. But now if I tell you that A scored 67 marks out of 100, okay? And B scored 70 marks out of 80. Now can you tell me who's better? Again, it's still B who's better, right? But if I change this equation or if I change this comparison to A scores 67 out of 100, B scores 70 out of 200. Now can you tell me who's better, A or B? Now in this case, A becomes better, right? So why is this that we are fluctuating between A and B? Because in both these cases, what's happening is, initially we started by comparing only the marks, right? But as soon as we got to know that A got 67 out of 100 and B got 70 out of 200, right? We started comparing with respect to the percentage or the ratio in which they have scored, right? So we realized that 67 out of 100 is far better than scoring 70 out of 200. So then we said that A is better. So it becomes easy for me to compare two people when I have percentage given to me. Okay? For example, let's take it in a different way. Let's say India and let's say, okay, let's say country A, country B, and I'm talking about unemployment. Okay, now I say that in country A, 1 lakh people, 100,000 people are unemployed, and in country B, 200,000 people are unemployed. So I know that, looking into this, I know that, okay, number of unemployment in B is higher compared to A. But if I have to look at percentage, so let's say in country A, 1 lakh out of 5 lakh people are unemployed, right? And in country B, 2 lakh out of 3 lakh people are unemployed. Then I realized that country B has a very high unemployment ratio. Okay, very high unemployment ratio. So percentage becomes easy for me to compare. Okay, and that's why we require percentage as such. It's a comparison with respect to 100. I hope you're clear till here. Any doubts? Please unmute, ask before we proceed. Okay. Now, I'm also assuming that you guys are writing, because I'll be erasing this as and when I write. Okay. So now let's look at how do we convert any value to a percentage. So when I have to convert a value to percentage, what do I have to do? I have to multiply it by 100. Okay. So if I have a 2 by 3, for example, I multiply that by 100, I get a 66.66%. So to convert a value to a percentage, I have to multiply by 100. And to convert a percentage to a value, I have to divide it by 100. So someone has given me a 75%. It's nothing but 75 divided by 100. This is the value of 75%. Right? So these are two informations that we have to know. The next thing that we need to know, that percentage as such, okay, cannot be independent. What do I mean? So let's say I am asking you to give me 50%. Okay, I'm asking you guys to give me 50%. But the point comes now is, what will you give me? Are you going to give me 50% of your money, 50% of your energy, 50% of your time, 50% of your space? What are you going to give me? So percentage cannot be an independent entity. It has to be percentage of something, right? So it has to be of something. So when I say 50%, it doesn't make sense. If I say 50% of 10, then it makes sense, because now I'm asking you to give me 50% of 10. So this value is very important when I'm dealing with percentage. Percentage alone as an independent will never ever make sense. Are we all clear till here? So whenever someone says percentage, the first thing that should come in your mind is percentage of what? That should be first thing that should come in mind. Okay. If I say, for example, my earning has increased by 50%, then it makes sense that whatever my earning was, let's say X, or whatever my earning is, let's say X, this earning has increased by 50%. But again, 50 by 100 is a standalone. It will not have a life. So what should I do? 50% of X, right? So that's what gets added. I hope we are clear. So now, if I take X value out, what am I left with? I will be left with 1 plus 50 divided by 100. I hope all of you understood this. If I take X value out, common, then in the bracket I am left with 1 plus 50 by 100. What is 50 by 100? It is nothing but 0.5. And now what is 1 plus 0.5? It is 1.5 of x. So if information given to me is that a value has increased by 50%, there are two ways I can write this information. Number one, I can basically do the value plus 50% of the value. So this is one way I can do. Or convert 50% into fraction. What is 50% as a fraction? 50 by 100. What is the value here? 0.5. Then I can do value into 1.5. That is, whatever the original value was, above that 0.5 has increased. Remember, listen, whatever the original value was, above that 0.5 has increased, and that's why I am going to multiply my value with 1.5. 1 represents the value that originally is, 0.5 is that increase that I am talking about. So, in case someone tells you that your value has increased by 20%, what will you multiply your value with? Value into increase of 20%. What will you multiply with? Value into. So 20% is basically 20 divided by 100. What is 20 divided by 100? 20 divided by 100 is 0.2. So will you multiply your value by 0.2 or will you multiply your value by 1.2? What will you multiply, guys? Put it in the chat box. If your value has increased by 20%, will you multiply by 0.2 or will you multiply by 1.2? What happened to the others? Are you still lost? 1.2? Absolutely 1.2. Okay? Because when you multiply a value by 0.2, it means that you are giving only 20% of the value. Okay? But when you multiply by 1.2, it means that you are not only taking your original value, but you are also adding the additional 0.2 into it. Any doubts? Please unmute and ask. Giving exactly 20 seconds for someone to unmute and ask me any doubts that they have.
Sir, my network
No?
was bad. Can you repeat this?
Repeat which one?
The value part.
So did you understand the x plus 50 by x, 50 by 100? This was clear with you?
Yes, sir.
No, your network is really bad. I'm unable to hear you.
Yes, sir, I understood that part.
You understood that part, okay. So what, let me clear this and do it again for you. So basically, let's do this. Each one of you, okay, assume that each one of you have 100 rupees. Now I will ask you something and you have to write down the values there in your chat box, okay. Each one of you have 100 rupees. I will ask you 20% of the value. What will you give me? Put it in your chat box. I am asking you all 20% of the value. What will you give me? You all have 100 rupees. Okay. So 20% of the value means 20 upon 100 into the value. And what was the value? The value was 100. So how much will you give me? 20 is what you will give. Great. I will tell you now to reduce this value, okay? to reduce the value by 30%. How much will you have? How much will you have? All of you? Sure? 100 rupees. I am asking you to reduce your 100 rupees by 30%. How much will you have? 70? Sure. So basically what you have done is you have taken 30% of 100, which is 30 rupees, removed that from 100, and now you are left with 70. Okay? The other way of doing this is also that you have 100 rupees, right? Basically, what is the complete value of percentage? Complete value of percentage is always considered as 100%. Whatever you have is considered as 100%. Okay? So you may have 1 rupee also, but that's considered as 100% of the money that you have. Now, out of this 100%, I asked you to reduce 30%. So how much percentage is left with you? 70% is left with you. 70% of what is left with you? 70% of 100 is left with you, which means 70 rupees is left with you. So there are two ways of doing this, guys. One, from 100, you remove 30% of 100, okay, which is 70. Or from 100, you remove 30%, so what is left out? Only 70%. And 70% is how much? 0.7, because 70 by 100 is 0.7. So what is left out with you? 70. So you can do this way, or you can do this way. Are we all clear?
Yes, sir.
Right, this is what I had told even in the previous one. So nothing much to worry. Okay. So all you can do is in a percentage, you can do the longer way of, let's say, I am increasing value by, let's say, 30%. So one way of doing this is whatever value I have, to that value I have to add, because it's an increase. So I have to add 30% of the value. Okay, whatever value I have, that I have to increase by 30% of the value. Okay, Rimjim, can you give me a minute? I just have to do something, so I may have to go off for a minute. Just a minute.
Sure, sir, no problem.
Guys, just hold on. I'm just coming back. Okay, when I have to increase my value by 30%, I will do value plus 30% of the value. Okay, so this is one way of doing. The other way of doing is the same thing, but in a very quick manner, is I will take my value and multiply it by 1.3. Why did I multiply by 1.3? Because my value is increasing by 30%. 30% increase means it's a 0.3 increase. So from the original value 1, I'm increasing 0.3, so it has to be 1.3 into the value. I hope you understood that both of them are same. You can choose to do whichever way you like to solve. Are we clear till here? I'm waiting. Thank you. Okay. Now, कहाँ गया भाई? All right. So now comes the fact that what happens when I look into certain chart, okay? Fraction to percentage is a place which is very important for me to understand. So there are certain values which directly converts into percentage. So this is a chart which I want each one of you to write down, okay? Don't miss on this, please write down this particular part. 1 always represents 100%. Okay? Why 1 represents 100%? That's because 1 is considered as a 1 unit. Okay? Anything that is complete is considered as a 100%, and that's why 1 becomes 100%. What is 1 by 2? So I'm talking about fraction to percentage. So I want you guys to write down fraction to percentage. So what's 1 by 2? 50%. What's 1 by 3? Ah, thank you. Thank you, Anshul. What's 1 by 3, guys? 1 by 3 is basically, in terms of percentage, is 1 by 3 into 100. And what is 1 by 3 into 100? 33.33%. Okay, so that's 1 by 3. I'm going to erase this for a while. So that I can directly write down the values. So 1 by 3 is 33.33%. Okay. What will be 1 by 4 in terms of percentage? Right, 1 by 4 is 25%. Okay. What would be 1 by 5? So remember, guys, to convert to a percentage, all you have to do is take that fraction and multiply by 100 and then solve it. So 1 by 5 is 1 by 5 into 100. So that's 20%. I hope all of you guys are doing this. If you're not, please do it. Okay. So this becomes one of those important ingredients for us to solve. That's 1 by 5. Or what would be 1 by 6? What's 1 by 6? So I want you guys to list down whatever I'm having in my chart. I mean, whatever do you see in the screen, right? 1 by 6, 1 by 7, 1 by 8, 1 by 9, 1 by 10, 1 by 11. Till here, I want you to fill. No, don't write down. Don't write down in the screen chat. What you guys can do is write down in a sheet, and then when I'm asking, that time you answer. Are you guys done with this? Everything? I hope no one's using calculator for this. Okay, great. So 1 by 5 is 20. What's 1 by 6, guys? 16.66%. Okay. What's 1 by 7? 14.28%. What's 1 by 8? What's 1 by 8? 12 point. Nuha, not 12.25. Ayushi, not 12.25. 12.5. Okay. What's 1 by 9? Right, guys. 11.11 percentage. What's 1 by 10? 10%. That's something that everyone should be knowing. What's 1 by 11? 9.09%. Great. Okay. So these values are something that's important for us to know, because there are many problems on percentages where someone may say that my value has increased by 12.5%. Okay. So as soon as someone says my value has increased by 12.5%, I know that they are talking about 1/8 the increase. Clear? So this mapping of fraction to percentage is very important. So now, if someone has a problem on how to remember them, so we can also look into what are the easier ways to remember them, right? So we all know 1 is 100%. I hope this is not a problem for anyone. 1 by 2 is half of 100. What is half of 100? 50. 1 by 4 is half of 50, because 1 by 4 is nothing but 1 by 2 into 1 by 2. Okay, I'll put an arrow mark, otherwise someone will say minus sign. So 1 by 4 is 1 by 2 into 1 by 2. So 1 by 2 itself is 50%. So half of 50%, 25%. What's 1 by 8? 1 by 8 is nothing but 1 by 4 into 1 by 2. And 1 by 4 is 25%. So what is half of 25? 12.5. Okay. So this is how you remember 1 by 2, 1 by 4, 1 by 8. Now, further. What's 1 by 3? 33.33%. So what will be 1 by 6? Half of this. 1 by 6 is half of 1 by 3. So what is half of 33.33? 16.66%. So that's how I remember 1 by 6. So in fact, I can also generate 1 by 12. What is 1 by 12? Half of 1 by 6. So what is half of 16.66? 8.33. So this is how I'll remember these values: 1 by 6, 1 by 3, 1 by 6, 1 by 7. Okay.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, Anuja.
Sir, can you explain this part? I didn't understand.
Which one you didn't understand, Anuja?
Sir, 1 by 4 is equals to 1 by 2 into 1 by 2. After that, 1 by 8 is equals to 1 by 4 into 1 by 2. This part.
Okay. See, basically, Anuja, what is, if I ask you to do half of 1 by 4, what is half of 1 by 4?
1 by 2.
Sure. Half of 1 by 4. What happens when you have a numerator, denominator, whole divided by a denominator, whole divided by another value? This denominator of this fraction goes down and gets multiplied with this. So what does it become? 1 by 8. Basically, whatever value you have, divide by 2 means what? You're making it half. Correct? So what is the value here? 1 by 4. Making half of a value is either dividing it by 2 or multiplying it by 1 by 2. If you have, let's say, look at the left hand side corner of the screen. If you have 50, what is half of 50? It is 50 divided by 2, correct? The same way I can write as half of 50 as 50 into 1 by 2. Am I right?
Yes.
So if in case this is 1 by 4, what is half of 1 by 4? Half of 1 by 4 is 1 by 4 into 1 by 2, because this is half of 1 by 4. So what is 1 by 4 into 1 by 2? 1 by 8. So that's what we have written here. So basically, how do I remember these values? Is when I look at 1 by 8, it is nothing but half of 1 by 4. What is 1 by 4? 1 by 4 I know is 25%. So what is half of 25%? 12.5%. So that's how I remember these values. Okay.
Yes.
So I take 1, which is 100. 1 by 2 is half of 100, so it is 50. 1 by 4 is half of 50, so it's 25. 1 by 8 is half of 25, so it is 12.5. I hope all of you are now clear till this 4. Next, 1 by 3 is 33.33. Okay, the way I'll remember this is, look at this. What is the denominator? 3. And what does this digit of this value contain? All 3's. So 1 by 3 will contain only 3's. So 1 by 3 is 33.33. That's how I will remember it. Okay, what is 1 by 6? So 1 by 6 will be half of 1 by 3. That's how 1 by 6 is, half of 1 by 3. So what is 1 by 3? 33.33. So what is half of 33.33? 16.66. So that's how I'm going to remember this. So further I can start dividing, taking half of every value. I will keep generating various other values. Now, the next value I have to remember is 1 by 5. 1 by 5, 20% is something that I have to remember. No excuse in it. Okay, that is 100 divided by 5 basically. Now, if 100 by 5, 1 by 5 is something that I will remember, 1 by 10 is also something that I should remember. And I guess both of them are easy for me to remember, right? So these are the two things that I have to remember. Now, coming to 1 by 7. What is the denominator? Denominator is 7. Double 7, what do you get when you double 7? Not square. Okay, 7 square is 49. But when you double 7, what do you get? 7 double is 14. And when you double 14, what do you get? 14 double is 28. So I can remember this as 1 by 7 is double of 7, 14. Double of 14, 28. That's how I remember 1 by 7. And this is only for 1 by 7. It is not for anything else. I hope you are all clear with this. Okay. 1 by 9 and 1 by 11, I usually remember it as a family. Okay, so these two belongs to a family. Why? Because 1 by 9 uses only 11 and 1 by 11 uses only 9. So that's how you remember. 1 by 9 is 11.11, 1 by 11 is 9.09. Are we all clear till here, guys?
So I'm sorry to interrupt you. We'll have to
We will
rejoin.
join back. Yeah. There is 1.5 minutes more. So 30 seconds, that's all. Before I ask people to click yes if they are clear with it. So tap in right if you are clear with the concept that we have taught. Click yes. All right, great. So we'll come back and join.